My outside speaker assignment is about climate change and why it's real. Climate change is serious because it destroys our oceans. Hurricanes will strengthen. We will experience more droughts and heat waves as temperatures will rise. Do you have an appreciation for our weather? I do. But do you realize that every year it is constantly changing? You may be asking what I mean by that. According to NASA, we are able to find both positive and negative effects about climate change. Climate change applies to all of us. This is due to our weather constantly changing no matter where we live. Temperatures are beginning to rise and affect all regions throughout the world. Some people believe that climate change is not real, but it affects all of us. Let's first examine how climate change destroys our oceans. You may be wondering how climate change can affect and destroy our oceans when climate just has to do with weather. That is where you're wrong. Climate change is mainly affecting our coral reefs. We learned that for decades we believed that plants, trees, forests, and jungles were responsible for our planet's oxygen. But we've only recently discovered that 70% of the air that we breathe actually comes from the ocean's coral reefs, especially contribute to more than half of the oxygen our planet relies on, and these are vanishing at unprecedented rate. When the coral reef goes, so does everything that relies on it. Not just ocean life, but everything else too. Since we know that the majority of our oxygen comes from the ocean, we realize that by destroying our ocean and reefs, we are helping contribute to our loss of oxygen. This affects the way we live and our everyday lives, so it is important to try and avoid climate change as much as possible. Next, I want to talk about hurricanes and how they will begin to strengthen and become more intense. What are hurricanes? Hurricanes are powerhouses. They suck up heat from tropical weathers to fuel themselves. Most hurricanes move westward across the tropics. Warm oceans, air rises into the storm, forming an area of low pressure underneath the hurricane. This causes air to rush, in which hurricane winds get up to 74 to 95 miles per hour, but those are just category 1s and 2s. Categories 3s and 4s get up to 129 to 156 mile per hour winds, which could be dangerous. In August of 2005, New Orleans had one of the worst hurricanes in U.S. history recorded. Hurricane Katrina was a category 3 to 4, which had a death count of 1,800 and had $120 billion worth of damage. It has been 14 years since Hurricane Katrina, and New Orleans is still recovering from that. In 2017, Puerto Rico got hit with the Category 5 hurricane that had 3,057 deaths and lasted for a whole month. Hurricane Maria is listed as the worst natural disaster recorded in history. That shows you that over the years, hurricanes have begun to strengthen and become more intense. To continue with climate change and what its effects, we learned that it will create and cause more droughts as well as heat waves. A drought is a prolonged period of abnormally low rainfall, leading to a shortage of water. As of heat waves, it is a period of unusual hot weather that typically lasts for 2 more days. To be considered a heat wave, the temperature has to be outside the historical averages of a given area. Droughts in the Southwest and heat waves everywhere are projected to become more intense and cold. Less intense everywhere. Summer temperatures are projected to continue rising, and reduction of soil moisture, which exhibits heat waves, is projected for much of the western and central U.S. in the summer. By the end of the century, what has been once in 20-year extreme heat days are projected to occur every 2 to 3 years over most of the nation. With droughts and heat waves, we are experience cracks in the earth. With droughts and no water getting to the earth's surface, it will begin to destroy. Not only do droughts affect the earth itself, but it affects the people as well. People are unable to get the proper nutrition they need, as well as water in order to survive. This is one of many topics on why drought and heat waves through climate change should be taken seriously. Lastly, I will discuss how climate change will raise our temperatures. Due to human-induced warming is superimposed on a naturally varying climate. The temperature rise has not been and will not be uniform or smooth across the country or over time. Humans are the main reason as to climate change. When temperatures are risen, it is harder for workers who work outdoors to get their jobs done. This includes farmers and those who all work in agriculture. They pose challenges such as growing enough food for the economy and they can come up with ways and other to grow more despite the challenge they are going through. This brings me to my overall points on why we experience climate change and how it is. Climate change is serious and real. It affects the way we live and also our future. Climate change is because it destroys our oceans. Hurricanes will strengthen, we will experience more droughts and heat waves, and temperatures will rise. Climate change is real. It is something that everyone should be aware about. It affects each and every one of us, whether we live north or south of the equator. Thank you.